So let's say there's child, they're thumb sucking. The parents at a conscious level are concerned if my child keeps sucking their thumb, they're gonna, have a ugly hand. People are gonna think X, Y, and Z about them. They're gonna have less opportunities when they grow up. It's a sign of their other discipline, whatever thoughts are going on. But then they realize, okay, I'm trying to force something here. I actually don't know why this thumb sucking is happening. Like, why is thumb sucking occurring in the first place? And then how would a parent go about addressing that behavior in a non-forceful, non-authoritarian way?
Yeah, it's actually really easy. And because to me, it's very plain. It makes a lot of sense that any kind of behavior like that, blankie sucking, other self soothing behaviors that we adopt as children or even as adults, is clearly a self soothing behavior. The
Mm.
person is under stress, and so they are doing something to try to assuage and address that stress. When I was writing my book, I realized that the reason that children suck their fingers or thumbs is because of the fear response in relation to the proximity of adults. So, as a baby human animal living in the wild in our tribes that we used to have before technology, when there's saber-tooth tigers around, distance from an adult or parent is dangerous. Whereas actually, like close proximity to an adult is safer. So, children that are constantly held by their parents are the safest children. And that's why children, when they don't see you or they don't know where you're there, they're left a long time, they start to cry. But crying
Mm.
also isn't always effective. And they're crying because they're stressed out because there's an instinct, a survival instinct in children to be nearer to adults and bigger humans all the time. When that instinct is triggered, the child experiences stress. That's where finger sucking and thumb sucking comes in. It's a substitute to receiving the antidote. If the
Mm.
parent's physical presence is not available, and so that fear cannot be assuaged, then children start to give it to themselves. And the finger and the sucking reflex is identical to suckling on breastfeeding. So it's like the same thing. It's basically just self-soothing the normal behavior, or the it's basically a self-care practice, actually. But parents don't know that because we've been conditioned as adults to believe that dependency and weakness and childlike behavior is part of the problem. I was really disheartened when I started doing research to see if anybody had philosophized about that kind of origin of that before. And instead, I found lots of professional therapists talking about how thumb sucking and finger sucking is an addictive behavior, which it's not. It fucking isn't. Like, they're 2 years old, 3 years old.
Wow.
That's a self-care, soothing behavior. And so it is addressed by providing the antidote to that insecurity, which is the closeness of a parent. So physical touch, hugging, holding. And we don't, I think a lot of parents, especially because of the way that we were raised, we don't recognize when we are emotionally withdrawing from our children, because that is in itself is also a defensive coping behavior that originates from trauma. So we don't recognize that we're doing that. But if you see your child sucking their thumb or fingers, you can know that that is an indication that they're emotionally stressed out and likely not receiving enough emotional availability from you. And that can be very unnerving for adults because we are often cynical and jaded and been hurt too
Yeah.
many times. And we have our own experiences of abuse and trauma. And so love and closeness and connection and even eye contact is one of the most powerful ways to actually connect with your children. It doesn't even require touch, but sometimes we can't even do that because of our own experience, that how vulnerable that makes us feel. If you can remember to have compassion for yourself for those feelings and then give your child more hugs and kisses and closeness and eye contact, then their finger sucking and thumb sucking will just disappear.